I'm Anna Slodka-Turner. I am the global leader for the Risk and Quant Solutions line of business at Evalueserve. I had an academic career first. I've done a PhD and 2 master degrees. I then spent about 15 years in professional services before joining Evalueserve. How did I end up in risk? About 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, there was an evening where 2 project managers were waiting for the project allocation, and 2 projects that were getting the project managers. One was in marketing and one was in risk. I thought my boss meant to give me the one in marketing, but something possessed me. And before going to bed, the last thing I did was I sent them a little note saying, I would really like to do the risk-related one. It sounded complicated, it sounded very analytical. At the time, marketing wasn't such an analytical function as it is now. And at the very heart of a financial institution. I was like, could I do this? And as I woke up a few hours later, and I reflected on my request, I thought maybe it wasn't the smartest thing to do. However, my wish was granted. So here I am. They say that if you feel comfortable, it means you have stopped learning. And I can only say I have not stopped learning for the last 15 years. It's quite a journey. What is shaping the risk industry? I've been to a presentation by one of the CROs who said, CRO's agenda is a little bit like my teenage daughter's wardrobe. You just keep adding things, but you never take things out. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think what is really happening is that plate gets ever full. So you have the machine learning, you have the interest rates changing, you have the economic environment changing, you have new regulation coming in, with it being the model risk or being the anti-financial crime. There is just so much going on. And I think, how are we going to manage all these and provide enough analytical support to help run financial institutions is a really, really interesting challenge, I think, for all risk managers. The complexity of the function, the complexity of the role is just increasing, and navigating that complexity is an interesting challenge going forward. Our client base is quite diverse. We work for Tier 1 financial services banks, we work for Tier 2 banks, we work for asset managers, we definitely work for index providers. So it's and insurance firms. So it's a broad base of different players who share the same characteristics, which is they're looking for support in how they run their risk function, how they run their risk operation, how they modernize. One of the topics we cover is model risk management. We support clients who are looking to effectively outsource the bottom tier, the less complex type of models to a third party. But we are also working with clients who are looking for advice on how do they, for the new types of models, for machine learning models, how they put the right governance in place or validate these models. So it's a really a diverse portfolio of both topics and clients. Every client has their unique circumstances, what they're trying to achieve, how they're trying to achieve this, what's driving the transformation for them. And while we use certain technology accelerators that are common for multiple projects, we really need to sit down with the client and understand their objectives and be very tailored and listen very, very carefully to what they're trying to achieve. And I think that is also the strength of the team, really being on the side of the client and attuned to what their objectives are. Each year, there is a slightly different strategy we take, right? You have to adjust what the industry is, what people are thinking, what the industry trends life throws at you. For the next 2 to 3 years, the key opportunities we will be exploring are around risk technology and wider financial services technology. There will be use cases linked to lending process. There are use cases linked to migration to the cloud. And there's definitely a big theme about migration to open source. So topics like SAS to Python migration. That's one big piece. Second big opportunity space for us is working with investment teams, both on the buy side and sell side, who are developing indices and are looking to improve how this process works. I'm talking about reference data, I'm talking about the calculation, index verification, index validation, structuring new indices, and services around that. We have experience in this space, which is quite unique, and we've been in this space for the last probably 10 years. And that is something that we are seeing more and more clients coming to us for help with where the capital markets are just now. I think the migration towards both passive investing and custom indices, self-indexing are important trends, which we are supporting our clients with. Looking back on the past 6 years, what am I most proud of? When we started the risk team at Evalueserve, we were effectively a spin-off of one ongoing engagement. And we said, okay, guys, this is your small anchor point, grow and build. We have these amazing client relationships at Evalueserve. We do a very good job. We have this very analytical understanding and kind of DNA at Evalueserve. Let's expand into the risk space. And over the last 6 years, we have won multiple clients across banks, asset managers, insurance firms, payment firms, index providers. We have won, I've lost count, 5-10 industry awards. We have listed in golden quadrants in analyst reports. So it's been an amazing journey. And every Monday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, we start with a team call when we walk through what we need to celebrate for the past week, what we need to put together for next week, who needs help, how do we collaborate, what's going on. I think what is for me the biggest success is that team on that 8 a.m. call has, in many ways, has been there for the last 6 years. And it's a really good team. So that's my biggest success. To be a leader is both a privilege and a responsibility. I think what the leader is responsible for is to provide a vision for the team. At any point in time, they can look to you and say, where are we going? And you have to know, and you have to, with conviction, be able to convey that message. So having the destination, knowing where we're heading, and communicating it in the right way is a very important part of the leader. The second part of the leader is obviously the successful team around them or behind them. So building a successful team, finding the right people that are talented, diverse, and bring their best to work is an important part of a leader. And then putting it all together, the next thing is communication. So transparent communication, two-way communication, and making sure that even the people at the back of the room contribute their best is an important part of building that successful team. Innovation typically comes from problem solving, so there's something we don't know how to do. And it comes with a certain courage of trying things that have not been tried before. So effectively risk-taking or chance-taking. And what is very important that sometimes you try and you win, sometimes you try and you lose. So sometimes it leads to innovation, sometimes it's a bit of a failure. I think important to know that we need to say, okay, we celebrate taking the chance, having the courage to try a new idea, and whether we win or lose, we celebrate that courage. So celebrating successes and celebrating failures is the way to foster innovation, maybe. What am I excited about going forward? Let me start with an anecdote. 2 weeks ago, we met a client who's heading a model risk management function. And he said, we are preparing for an explosion of machine learning models. Now, he said it with a complete flat face, and I leave it to your interpretation whether he meant explosion and they'll be everywhere, or explosion as there'll be a big boom. I think this is something that the industry is really talking about, preparing, building, trying to manage the risk, trying to take the risk. So that is a very, very interesting part. Another theme happening at the same time is a migration to cloud. A lot of risk function teams are moving the data services modeling into the cloud. That can be used as an enabler to introduce more machine learning. That is sometimes seen as additional complexity with what's going on now. So that technological shift is also an important part of what is happening now. So complexity of it. And then obviously there is never a dull moment in this function with changes in the macroeconomic scenario, changing with cyber changes and different risks that financial services are exposed to. There is always a lot going on. So every morning is an interesting one.